Thanks for coming along, everyone. It's really amazing to see the turnout. This is our second one of these that we've done. We did one last year and it's similar turnout. We have Penny from Interiors, interior designer. She pretty much also manages and created this amazing place. Catherine, who works for Proclima, who's a bit of a building science whiz and will probably confuse all of you.
Yes.
Please confuse me also. Charlotte is at Alki Design and super talented young lady, and I'm obviously Mark, MA Building. They've been building along this line for probably 5 years now. Why? It just makes sense. And the more I build it and the more I get into it, the more it makes sense. The more people we put into those types of homes, the more it makes sense. So I'm going to try and go basic. These guys might go a bit more scientific and a bit more intense, but I'll try and keep it simple. I'm going to go as quick as I can. The 15 minutes, I'm going to talk about those 15 hours easily. Experience with different clientele and different types of builds. I created a bit of a tier system to try and simplify what a performance house is. I stopped calling them, well, it's still in there, but I like to call them energy efficient now. Tier 3 is like a full certified passive house, the Rolls Royce. There's actually two types of passive house. There's a lower level, slightly lower, and I won't get techie on it, but it's just slightly lower. It's a little bit easier to achieve. And then I've found there's a bit of a level if we use some energy modelling, which is a computer software, to check that the house is going to work as we want and expect it to. We can build a pretty awesome house, 50 to 70% better than code. I can't put a number on it because every house is a different cost, but not much more than code. And they start to rock. And we'll sort of talk a little bit about one of them. So this house here in the background is a place in North Lake. Talk about some free stuff. The ladies, I won't call them girls, the ladies have touched on it. Orientation, get the site right, that's free, that's not on me. Orientate your house right with the architect, that's not on the builder. Make the form not too crazy, again, that's not on the builder. So you come and bring your plan to the builder and it's everywhere and the builder goes, it's going to cost this, and you look at them and go, what? There's 5 or 6 things that happen before the builder's got a hold of it. That has nothing to do with us, but we are the bearer of bad news sometimes and we get stuck for it. But we're here to help, right? And we're here to help. So along with the form of making it easy, the form does a couple of things. It helps with cost and it helps with efficiency. So if you've got a big sprawling house and you've got lots of external wall area, say that's a box and you've got 100 linear metres of external wall area on both sides. You've got this big ass wall, right? Massive, right? That's expensive. You've got external framing, you've got foundations, you've got insulation, you've got air tightness, you've got windows, you've got gutters, you've got all sorts of stuff, right? So that's got 100 square metres, but it's also got 202 linear metres of external wall area. Walls are expensive. Do a box, still got 100 square metres, but it's only got 40 linear metres of external wall area. Can you grab me a drink, please, eh? This is going to cost a whole lot more than that, but they're the same as square metres. So when people ask me the question, thank you, square metre dollar cost, I did a QS course once, and this is what they said to me. Pretty much throwing a square metre cost because there's so much more impact on a cost of a building than just the square metre of the floor. You do a roof line that's like this, you do a roof line like that. It's going to cost more than that because there's more materials. Poor old builder can't do this for the same price, just like you can't do this for the same price as that. So I just want to draw that home a little bit because we always get asked, how much more to build this for this? And how much more is it a square metre rate? It's a very general rule that's been driven home by a beautiful group house companies to sell product. Very often that won't end at what they tell you. There'll be so many hidden things in there that they come and smash you with through the build. You get your interior designer, you get a good builder, someone that wants to work with an architect, you get the team together, you price it, you work hard, you work bottom up, you get your number, and it should be pretty good. It can still happen. Builders are doing their best all the time to look after you guys, hopefully. This is a framing technique now. This is a wall frame. One thing you may or may not notice is in a normal wall frame, there'll be a whole lot more horizontal timber in here. You could be talking up to, well, there could have 4 rows in it if you've got a cedar cladding on it. That's a whole lot of money because it's timber, but it's also a lot long. It takes a lot more time to install that insulation, and the performance-wise is way worse because you go back up to here to our thermal bridging. This is what happens. We've got all this warm air travelling through our framework. That if we can do this style construction with our Intello, which is our vapor control barrier, which Catherine was talking about, to stop the moisture getting into our wall cavity. We're going through a second layer. This is our service pattern that we run all our cables and our pipes in. And we run a crisscross insulation, so you get another insulation that goes across. Boom. The only spot of warmth that can go through that wall is literally through there. So you get a little bit of square timber about that big versus a wall that's full of timber. What it also does is it cuts down waste. So if you're cutting insulation constantly, most of it goes in a bag.
Can I just say something on that? I was mortified the other day.
It's a fact.
I was mortified the other day that the insulation of the house, right? The skip was filled with plastic bags filled with insulation. And it would just astounded me. I was like, where is that? That's going to landfill and it could like insulate another house, basically.
So this can actually save you money. The way that we need to do that, though, is we need, for the builders in the room, we need to put a structural cavity bed on the outside. So what our horizontal members used to be for, our lovely builder's picture over here, that was to like nail our cladding onto. They've now given us a product. If we've got our framework, we can now put a big, thick batten on the outside in our cladding versus a little skinny one with a block behind it. So this is a bit more expensive to put in, but I've worked out that if we frame it, we take the timber out of here, and we put our money into here. This performs, I don't know how many percent better, but a whole lot better than that. So start to swing some money around, right? So it's free, technically. Everybody can actually frame that way, not even a passive house or a performance house. This could be standard New Zealand construction. Even without the Intello, it could still be standard construction in this country. Taking site, framing technique, more insulation. So here's another little thing. So when I started doing passive house course, I was living in a rental and I had a shower and I was like, what's it cold? I looked up and I looked at this duct, and I've been building for 15 years and, just doing what you do. And I could feel the cold come back down through the ventilation and the duct for the bathroom. That goes both ways, There's a really cool product now that's been brought out in the market. It's called a thermo box. It's kind of like about that big and it's got 3 flaps in it and it's magnetic. So you kind of put your fan motor on the outside and your ducting on the inside. So when the fan's on, these open. They open up. Literally, you go. And then when it closes, they shut. Now, I chuck that under door pressure test like this in this house at Northlake, and that passive house level is 50 pascals of pressure pushing on your house, which is like a steady breeze in Wellington. We got that up to 75 pascals before they opened. So they are airtight. This was an airtight home, so I was looking to do an airtight construction. Another 1% that you could do in any home, they're about $300. Because you might have 3 or 4 of those in your house, and you've got 4 of them, say. They may as well be an open window. Then you go and put your fireplace in, and you've got one that big, for your flue. And all of a sudden you've got this massive big hole where air can go both ways. We're talking about air, right? It's always moving. I'm just going to talk because this is just how it works. Fireplaces, just go there. Who loves a fireplace? What you love of a fireplace, I will challenge, is you love the radiant heat from a fireplace. Do we love the firewood? Yeah. Do you like paying for it? Do you like stacking it? Yeah. Do you like going out at 5 in the morning and getting it in your undies? Because I'm now doing it and I don't like it personally. It's work, it's job, it's becoming uneasy for me. Good job, your kids, fair enough. But I don't like it. I just like either pressing a button or not having to press a button at all. Not only how does a fire work, right? Well, fire works on combustion, so it works on air coming in and combusting. So I lit the fire the other day in this rental, so I moved out of the house and I've done a rental. And I had this theory that cold air must come in through the flue. I lit the fire and I was like, let's test this out. And it was just like, does that make sense to use a heating system that uses outside cold air to work? To me, it doesn't make sense because you've got the flue coming through. I'm just getting a messy here. Your fireplace, 0 degree, -3, -5, whatever it's been. It's been a pretty wild winter, right? -3 has been about the coldest so far. That's saying you're trying to get some -3 ripping into your house, and you're going to what, preheat it? Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to bring in cold air to then reheat again. It doesn't compute. Why throw money at something? That's what everyone does. Look at that fireplace actually getting over $1. Why throw money at something that then just goes to reheat again? Whereas we could. This is how I like to build now. My builders love my pictures, by the way. This is pretty much how we build houses. How are we going to do it? Make it up. Got a house, we've got lights, we've got some plugs, we've got a TV, we've got a shower, we've got an oven, we've got a couple of humans, we've got a little dog, and maybe a cat, and we've got the sun. What are all those things doing? They're all creating energy. They're all creating warmth. We're sitting in this room's probably got warmer from just us sitting in here. What most houses do, Catherine proved it before. I've had that funniest thing you had. I was being managed to do a place with Amy and have a window and just had like some dollar bills just flying out the outside keeping. Because now I've moved into rental, that's kind of what's happening to me. Yes, because I know.
Maybe we need to start doing some infographics
Yeah, because I know that if we wrap up our house, ventilate our house, like fresh air in, controlled, that runs through a box, that retains 90% of our energy going out. So the air's going out at 22, coming back in at 21. What are we not having to do then? We're not having to reheat the air. Fresh air MVHR, that's what we call it, a fresh air HRV system that brings in cold air to our house. Then what do we have to do to it? I've said it 3 or 4 times, got to reheat it. So yes, it does make that air inside your house fresher, but it's cold. The key to that MVHR system, this ventilation system, is it's preheated. So it's pre-warmed. You're not bringing in cold air. $1 a day to run, a light bulb to run. They're really, really efficient for the amount of savings that they do to a home. So if we bring it back to this house here, really interesting project. We chucked it through our PHPP modelling, which is our energy modelling through our computer software system, to understand the design and how it was going to work. It was really well orientated. It was 3-bed, 180 square metre house, not small, not big. And we had an underfloor heating system in it, which was about 40 grand. And the model said, you're not going to need it. And I was like, okay, sweet, I'll trust you. So we ripped that out. Yeah, we ripped it out of the quote. Yeah, we took it out. And we took that out. That became a minus. What we did, we added MVHR. I think it was about 16k. Air tightness, which does a couple of things. I'll get to that in a second. I think it was about 15 or 16k as well. And then a heat pump, which was 10. So all of a sudden, that was 40k. So what we did, we swapped that, which was going to be inefficient to run through the year. Would have been lovely, would have given you a nice radiant heat underneath. And we put it into that same amount of money into an MVHR system, air tightness and heat. So that underfloor might have been, say, $500 to $800 a month to run, plus the other power. Their power bill in this house here in the middle of winter is anywhere between $200 and $300, including the hot water, and they live and work from home. I'm scared about the power bill that I'm about to get and the rental that I'm in, because I've had a heat pump cranking, I've had a heater in the bedroom, I've had the fire going, the 5-year-old home, and I haven't been warming that home in 6 weeks. So this was a really nice example of where we can use our modelling to understand where to spend our money. We talked about windows. This place, they stuck with the aluminium. We said, if you go to, say, PVC, it'll cost about 30 grand, and you'll get about 20% energy reduction. Quite a lot. That's quite a lot in this house. It would have got them really close to our tier 2 level. They didn't see the value in it. I took it on the chin. We moved forward. But still built an awesome house. They are dry. They are warm. Their house is anywhere from 20 to 22 degrees across the floor through the year, for next to no heating. If the sun's out, the heat pump's not on. If there's inversion, the heat pump's on. Because again, we've got to use something. Often we use the sun. That all making sense?
That's like, in your car, how you have that little icon that the air's circulating within the car versus bringing the cold air and heating it up, right?
Pretty much,
In basic terms.
Yeah, basic terms,
For the creative.
But yeah, it's really, what we're probably going to find is what Catherine didn't quite go to before, she almost did.
Almost.
If we've got our moisture rising into our roof and we've got our big thick insulation, because the government's told us what's the easiest thing to change in our insulation standard? Ceilings, that's easy to stuff lots of insulation in, it's quite cheap. So we'll better double that up because that's easy. And then we've got our moisture moving, because the best thing I was told the other day, moisture's like, air's like an aeroplane carrying moisture. It's always carrying moisture. The thing about air is it's not really air, it's moisture really with the humidity. But what happens is that if that's really, really slow, there's a dew point here, because this is 0 degrees up here. Dew point, bang, turns to water. If you're using glass or insulation, that'll sag, it'll just turn to rubbish. So we really want to put out barrier here and stop that moisture here and then ventilate it out through this machine. I'm going to run out of time, but yeah, that's the MVHR. And I think what's going to happen now, it's a guess, they will become almost compulsory for our building code, I think, whether you're building a standard house or not. Because of the condensation problems we're starting to have up and down the country, because they may become pretty mandatory in all homes. If you're going to do one thing to your house, because this is kind of what I'm sort of getting at, I think, even if you don't want to build a passive or airtight home, put a ventilation system in. It's still going to do work. That's what I did in my house when I started my journey on a passive house. Built a house with big thick walls, I insulated the slab, underfloor heating with ventilation system, and it was amazing. The dryness, and we could dry a rack of clothes overnight. It's taking us like up to 3 or 4 days at the moment to dry a rack of freaking clothes in front of the fire. My wife keeps going on about, it's so hard to live here. because she's had. Press a button and the floor comes on, ventilation machine's going all the time. Put your rack of clothing over there and all of a sudden it's dry the next day. This is like, I'm getting up at 5 in the morning, putting my puffer jacket on, going out, lighting the fire, and it's 14 degrees in the lounge, you just wait and you wait and you wait. And the kids get up, and at my old house they're running around in nappies, and now they're not. They're getting up. They're actually sleeping in clothes. We haven't slept in clothes for a long time because it was so warm. It was always 21, 22 degrees.
That's true, right?
We didn't need that big duvet. I've got 3 duvets on my bed at the moment. What I did wrong with my house, a big long house like this, the window was like that, and a big window. Big window. It went north-west. And I didn't put an eave on it. In summer, it's 35 degrees. Easy. So freaking uncomfortable. Such a big window, I couldn't really even get a blind on it. It was like 4.5 metres by 4.5 metres. It was huge. Got the energy modelling done. It told me I was going to have 26% overheating. She'll be right. That doesn't mean anything. I'm a burner. I didn't know. 5 years ago. Lived through it. Flipping heck. Because it's not 26% for summer. It's 26% for like 10 months of the year. This is another thing I want to talk about is overheating. It's really quite easy to insulate our homes and make them quite warm. It's actually really simple. Quite hard. It's way harder to keep them cool. So this place here, it's such a cool case study really, because it's didn't cost a bomb to build. I don't believe. I think it was quite good value. Here's another picture of our Intello vapor control barriers, all their taping and things like that, stopping our air travelling through with our moisture. But this here was going to have 0% overheating in the modelling, and I was like, let's see. Here's my house actually. Look at that. Here it is. Beautiful. It was such a pig. It was a beautiful house. I loved it. It was such a pig. This place here, West Sun. It's almost West Sun now. No windows. Very small one. Just buffering, like we're talking about. There's not many windows down the south side. So again, southwest, buffering. 900 mil eaves. This is in winter. You can see the sun coming in. There's our free energy. Going back to our free stuff again. Well, that's the biggest free thing you can get. But in the summer, they're big enough. When we were building this house, and same with Callagher Drive, passive house, had 900 eve on it again, and the architect can help you with this, get the eve size right. So
it's trigonometry. Pythagoras counts.
Yeah, it's like,
Pythagoras is used after high school.
like the different angles of roofs and things. It's actually kind of buildings, it's going back to full form science. But this place here was really well insulated, nice kind of grey tin, which again helps. The grey windows again helps. Yes, they were aluminium. I would have loved to get them up to another grade, but that's another question. In the summer, that had no sun coming in those windows. Sorry. They messaged me in the middle of summer when we're having our nice little heat wave, a nice run of clear days through the middle of February there. They got to 27 degrees and they just turned the heat pump on. Once. I don't know many homes that really do that.
Where is that one?
This is up in Norfolk. So that's the thing that the power of energy modelling can tell us. It's kind of like having a car or a star rating on a, it'll dance between lots of things here, but knowledge is power. Right? We're in the information age. We have an ability to understand how every single home is going to work in our country for a few $1,000s. So if you're going to invest some money in a good architect who knows the stuff. And if they don't know the stuff, find a builder who does, or who's interested, who wants to learn. Come to these events, obviously. But spend a few $1,000s on or shorten it, PH or Eco. And these guys will do a model on your house for somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. And for example, we go back to this. Without the model, I wouldn't have known to take that underfloor heating system out. I just wouldn't have done it. I would have thrown that in there just in case. And I've built houses that have been here that it's quite ironic because I'm building a really amazing house. High performance, really energy efficient, but also very architectural. And across the road, I built a house for a Greek home. And I'd just done the course. And I was like, why are we doing 4x2 frames? It just doesn't make sense. I can't afford it. And then I looked at them, they were double 4x2s at 400 centres. The amount of wood that was in that frame was just phenomenal. And they didn't have any insulation around the outside perimeter of the slab, which thankfully now the code is asking us to do. And it's an absolute no-brainer. But we had an underfloor heating system in it. We had a ducted heat pump system in it, and we had a fireplace. That was probably, what do you think that's worth, Tommy? 100 grand? 80 to 100 grand worth of heating systems. But they couldn't afford to upgrade the framing. Where are you spending money? When are we going to start to put thermal performance on the same sort of level as a pretty house? Lipstick on a pig, you said it before, I love it. What I call them. And we love, we love architecture. I love architecture, and they don't have to be a box. They can be, this is a box, pretty much, because that's the easiest way to do it. The house I'm building at the moment is actually, it's like 3 levels, it's over here and in and out, and it goes in again, and it goes out again. It's like this, and it comes back in and goes in. It is like this, but it's also 50 kilowatts of usage, really, really low usage. It's going to run like a machine. It's very expensive. It all just really comes down to what you guys want. It's not what we want. At the end of the day, we just put numbers on the page. We've got a whole lot of lines here. We go, how much?